I want to talk just for a minute about how a woman might ask for what she wants or needs, because I do think there's a bit of an art to that,
Hmm.
to having her requests or her desires more likely to be heard and responded to. What would you say to that, Alex? Do you agree with me?
I do agree with you. Yes, of course, there is ways to communicate. There is a little bit of art that we have to learn, you know? So usually it's come down in my philosophy about the emotional communication and how we can say something that we want without hurting people's also feelings. So I will recommend women to use the suggestions, which is not like, hey, this is what I want, but mostly like, I would love for you to do that. I would love to experience this restaurant. So it's mostly more a suggestion where the man has to respond on it and he has to provide you what you want. But we are not coming. You know, when I first came in the US, I was not living in the US, but I was just traveling from France. It was like 10 years ago, and I was not married at this time, but I was meeting women just to try to date and see the difference. I sat down and the woman came to this date with a list on her notebook. This is what I want. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
this is not going nowhere. This is too much. So I was
Right.
always talking about this. This happened to me in the US. Okay, I want a man that does this and does that and win this type of money. I was like, this is too much to me. So I want you to use the suggestion and not come as with this notebook and saying, this is what I want, because I think we also need to learn how to flirt, how to engage
Mhm.
communication, how to attract each other. I'm French. I love the attraction. So yeah, just to rebound on what you were mentioning was for me, I use the suggestion, but I would love to learn also from you. How can they communicate their need? What do you recommend, Michelle?
Yeah, well, I think again, there's some different circumstances or different scenarios we could play out here. But just to give a couple of examples, I think having in your box of tools, so to speak, a few phrases that can really work, can really make a difference. So let me just give a little analogy first, and then I'll share something about this that I think could be valuable, Alex, for people that are
Mhm.
listening. So one thing that I like to think about is that I think a woman can set a man up to win with her. In other words, she can get her needs met, but she can also set him up to feel successful, to feel appreciated, and to provide something for her. So I'll give a little analogy and then I'll give a couple examples of these phrases that I think can be really effective along these lines, because it goes right along with what you said, where you're giving ideas or you're giving suggestions. They're not going to sound like a demand or a command.
Mhm.
But I sometimes use a basketball analogy. So I'm not a big sports person, but I do know a little bit about basketball in terms of like basic positions and things like that. So, you have these guards that sometimes are dribbling the ball down the court, and they're usually really good, sophisticated ball movers. And sometimes they can take the three point shots from clear on the outside. Well, I think that represents a lot of women. Like, a lot of us, we got it going on, man. We could take that 3 point shot and we could hit it most of the time, right? Because we're really smooth in a lot of ways, and we kind of got it going on. But if we're with a man and we really want to give a man an opportunity to show up for us or to provide something for us, then we might want to consider that we're going to pass the ball off to like the forward or the center that's closer into the basket and give him the easy shot, right? The layup. So this is kind of how I think about how women can help a man um, set him up to win. Because even if he's the one making the shot, if we're on the same team, we're both winning. It's this win-win scenario. He might get credit for the basket with the stats, but in reality, we set up the shot so that he could win with us. So this is kind of just an analogy and a way of thinking about it, how it creates kind of this win-win scenario. Because if we really are on the same team or wanting to kind of see if we can have a relationship, then, we kind of want to see how we play together, how we dance together, how this all works. So a way of doing that is just letting a man know, let's say he invites you out, he asks you out, And, I've heard from some men, they said, let's face it, we only typically have about 2 or 3 good date ideas. And after that, we're lost. Now, I don't know if that's true for every man, but I think it's true for a lot of men, right?
Exactly.
They might have a favorite restaurant or two. They might have a favorite activity or two, but after that, they don't know what else ask us to do. So I do think it's helpful to say, if a man's asking her out and, he's kind of not coming up with any ideas, or maybe it's the same old idea or that kind of thing. I think it's okay for a woman to say, that's a great idea. You know what I've really been wanting to do, though, is I've really been wanting to try this new restaurant in town, blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that? Just kind of teeing it up, letting him know. So this is like handing the basketball off to him. And if he says, yeah, I think that'd be great. And then you could say, oh, would you plan that for us? Would you be willing to make reservations for us? I would really enjoy that. That would really make me happy. Make me happy is a magic phrase, or what I'd really enjoy, or what I'd really like, or what I've really been craving, or what would really please me. Those kinds of things are words sometimes that a man can hear. And I think the word happy in particular, that would really make me happy to a man's ears. You tell me if this is true, but other people told me that resonates as, oh, this is how I can make that point. This is how I can make that easy basket.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned. It's really related to the emotional communication, because when a woman will tell a man, oh, that would make me happy, most of the men, we have this act of service love language. If we can make you happy, and it's the easy shot, we have almost to do nothing, that is just the perfect solutions. So I 100% agree on what you just mentioned. And I think this analogy, I love basketball. I used to play basketball, so I understand what you mentioned. And it's great. It's just like very important stuff. I'm just happy that we can have this discussion, because I learned that through my coaching programs. I think that you learn that through maybe your personal experience or the coaching that you do. It's not something that we come up with this. So we have to learn, just to mention that it's in the same time not easy, but in the meantime, it's very valuable. It can change people's lives. So yeah, so don't worry if you're not in the emotional communication yet. You can learn with Michelle.
Yes, and with Alex. And, Alex, I think you're right. I think it doesn't necessarily come naturally to us. It's like some of the women that I've worked with are so out of necessity or out of choice. They've learned to be so self-sufficient and so independent and everything like that, that it doesn't feel natural or come naturally to ask for what they want or need, or to even accept help or support. It's like, I've even encouraged women. Some of my clients have said, I let the man help me lift my luggage up into the luggage rack on the plane. And, when he offered, I said yes. And this for them was a huge breakthrough, because they're so used to just saying, oh, no, got it. I'm fine. I got it. So that's just another little nuanced place to start, is like I say to women, as a general rule, there's always exceptions, but again, this is my philosophy too, but as a general rule, where a man offers something, wherever possible, say yes, accept his offer. Say, oh yes, that would be so nice. Yes, that would be so nice. Thank you. Just allow him that opportunity. I was in the grocery store recently, and I needed to get a can of cooking spray. And it was way, way, way up on the high top shelf, and I couldn't quite reach it. So there was a man in the aisle with his cart, and he had a couple of kids, and I just asked him if he would reach this can of cooking spray for me. And he practically tripped over his basket trying to get there so fast to get this can of cooking spray. So I'm just saying, a lot of men have a nature where they would like to help if they see that opportunity. And that's why sometimes we I wasn't intentionally setting him up. I really needed the help. But I'm just saying, this is why, where we can set them up to make those easy shots and let them win those points and give them that acknowledgement and appreciation, it can go such a long way. And we're actually, we're receiving, but we're actually giving something to them that they want and need by allowing them that opportunity, and then appreciating. That's why I say graciously receiving, appreciating what they've provided for us. Did that all kind of come together?
Yes, it comes together, and it's linked to what we just said previously about graciously receiving, learning how to receive from a woman, because if you learn how to do it with men generally, you can do it with someone that you like when there is a little bit of more pressure and stakes.
Mhm.
If not, when there is stakes, they lose maybe their time, their emotions, they lose control, they don't know how to behave. So I think what I love with your example, Michelle, it's like it's a day-to-day change. It's not just for one man that we will change your personality. We have to learn how to receive, and especially for you women, because you want to be more independent, which is very fine. But if you can ask or receive help, it will make it easier when you like a guy and knowing how to attract him. That's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why a place to start, if this is something that you're not in the habit of doing, can be just to look for those opportunities where you can allow a man to help, or ask for help, or even ask for a man's advice or opinion on something. Most men really like to share their opinion on something they might have a bit of expertise on. You know, that's an easy way also to give a man an opportunity to provide something for you. He's providing some advice or an opinion or a point of view. That's also an easy way to kind of engage a man in a way where he can potentially provide something for you too.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's not. Just to make sure, ladies, you will not be weak. You will not be negative. You will not be whatever. You will always be strong, and it's good for you to make this change.